Hi, Theresa. Thank you so much for taking the time today to speak with us. If we just wanted to start out with, if you wanted to introduce yourself and your role with Father Joe's Villages, and explain a little bit about our culinary arts program.
Hi, I'm Chef Theresa Fields. I'm the Culinary Arts Instructor for Father Joe's Villages. Basically, my job is to teach people to work in the professional kitchens, and they help them get jobs, and we teach them what they need to know to be able to go into a professional kitchen and work. The Culinary Arts program is basically that we teach people to work in the professional kitchens, and we teach them knife skills. We teach them what they really need to know to be able to get a job. We even go down to teaching them how to interview, pass them interview questions and things like that. Give them advice about how to dress for an interview so that they can be successful.
Right, really hitting all the things from start to finish. And yeah, I know it's a really great program. How would you say CAP is different from an average employment program?
Average employment program, a lot of them, for one, they cost money. And this is for our clients, it's totally free. They don't have to put any money forward. We give them every single tool they need to be successful. Like I said, right down to interviewing, resumes. I get asked questions all the time. Well, what should I wear to an interview? Or what should I say? How should I say it? And, it's just, we give them all the tools that they need, and that it doesn't cost them anything.
Yeah, that's so great that you mentioned that, because I know, stuff like, how do you interview? I mean, can be stuff that's overlooked sometimes. So I think hitting those points as well is so important. What does a typical day look like for you in your program?
A typical day starts at like 8 a.m. And the first part of the program, like the first 3 hours, are book work. I know, kind of boring, kind of dull, but we all got to do it. Do some book work, learn the ins and outs of things before we actually start working on them. Then at noon at 11 we have lunch until noon, and then at noon we start a lab which lasts for 3 hours. It can be whatever is set for today. If it's cutting up vegetables, it's cutting up vegetables. If it's working on knife skills, we're working on knife skills. If it's filleting fish, we'll fillet fish. Just whatever the lesson is for that day. So they basically go to school about 6 to 8 hours a day.
Wow, so really a full day of learning.
Mm-hmm.
And how would you say all this has changed in the last 6 months amid this pandemic?
Well, we had to cut our classes short. So what we've done is we've kind of revamped our classes. We made the first 2 classes like 6 weeks long instead of the 8 weeks that they were, 8 to 10 weeks that they were. And then we've kind of spread the class. The whole class used to be 15 weeks long. Now we've kind of chopped it up into little increments to kind of take the industry is changing so much. And I mean, restaurants right now, a lot of them aren't busy. So we're trying to make our clients more able to get a job that's going to last them a long time. Like the hospital industry, the senior living centers, places like that need people all the time, and we make them, able to do that. Do batch cooking is different than cooking for a restaurant when you're making 1 or 100. So it's a different set of tools.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you for touching on that. I I think, adapting to how the industry is changing is so, so important and really sets up the students for success as best you can.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great. What sort of impact have you seen on the students in your program? I know I've worked with your team closely when we were putting on events, and really the word that comes to mind is you being a mentor to these students, and what sort of impact do you think that's had on them?
Well, for one thing, it gives them hope. It gives them hope. It gives them a purpose. It gives them a sense that they are important and that they can do this. It is very important for them to set them up for success, not to set them up for failure. To be able to say, look what you did. You done this. You made this. Whatever, whether it's a fruit tray or whether it's a steak, you did this.
Yeah, that's incredible. And you mentioned the word hope. That really makes me think about, most recently I was down at Father Joe's Village's new affordable housing building, Benson Place, for Lister's move-in, who I know was one of your students. And he, in speaking with him, he kept mentioning the word hope and what the CAP program and having you as his mentor has really given him. Can you, sort of explain how the culinary arts program has helped Lister transform his life, or, are there any other stories of student transformation that you can share?
Oh yeah, Lister is when I first met him, he was using a walker. He was kind of hunched over. He was kind of walking real slow. I got him to start pushing the carts, that we push from place to place instead of using his walker, and he got faster. He got better, and he got he loves to cook. He loves to do the cooking. He loves it, and it shows in what he makes and what he does. He volunteers on a regular basis here. He's practically here more than I am. So, I have a few students who one right now is stuck in Hawaii because he is on he works on a cruise ship, and his cruise ship was stuck in Hawaii. So it's like, oh, you're stuck in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Could be worse.
Yeah, well, I'm sure he, that's a lot of skills you need to have and learn to get that sort of job on a cruise ship, turning out all those meals. And thanks for sharing that. What is your favorite part about what you do? Because you have such an impact on these students.
My favorite part is seeing the end result. It's especially the tougher cases. There's some students that walk in there and they're so competent, they're so hardworking, they're so got it together, and then there's the ones who are very quiet, very scared, very upset, had other issues. And you have to get through all those. The end results with the harder ones, I feel to me, are more rewarding. Not saying that they all aren't rewarding, but they are. But when you can get through to somebody who nobody else could get through to, that's just a reward in itself.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure, and I've seen that, the students who you have mentored and gotten through and given the tools to be successful. So I'm sure it's a great feeling to have. Moving on to our food services program, why do you think Father Joe's Village's food services program is so crucial for people experiencing homelessness? And why is it even more important during COVID-19?
it is more important for COVID-19 because there are so many people who have either they either lost their jobs or their jobs have been cut down to where they're just not making ends meet. We started some of this we call them scattered sites, but they're really like soup kitchens to help people who are in the situations that they don't have enough money after they pay their bills to be able to buy food right now. Food is a scarcity, and there's a lot of people in San Diego where there's a lot of places that are what we call food deserts. That there's for blocks there's absolutely no place to even shop other than say the liquor store where you can only get a limited amount of things. So Father Joe's is a very crucial part of being able to help people get meals every day. And for some people, I had one guy at one of the scattered sites. He used to come and pick up every single day, and he says, I'm glad I come here because my Meals on Wheels didn't show up the other day. I was like, wow. He says, if I hadn't have came down here and got my meal from you guys, I wouldn't have ate that day at all. So.
Wow. Yeah, I know we've seen throughout the pandemic, smaller homeless services providers have had to close their food service programs. So you mentioned food deserts. Yeah, it's just all over. We're seeing less availability. So increasing our services at Father Joe's Villages, I know, is just such an important part of what we do.
Yeah, and Lister and my students, my older students, they were a crucial part in all that. I took them a lot of times to help serve the meals, even though I had like one or two volunteers. But they were crucial because at one point in time, we were feeding like 200 people a day just out of a little itty bitty storefront. Right now, it's more like 60 or 80, and it's sack lunches because we lost the building due to a flood. Mm-hmm. But we're right outside the building on the sidewalk passing out sack lunches. We pass out 60 to 80 a day. So the need's still there.
Yeah, and I know Lister and the rest of your students are always jumping in to help wherever they can. So, jumping on over to the Thanksgiving Day 5K, I know, especially from our discussion today, this is not nearly the only thing you and your team does, but I think this is how a lot of people know you and your program is those Thanksgiving Day pies. So, what kind of pies do you have for us in store for us this year?
This year we have the Dutch apple and we have the pumpkin. Last year we did 3, but we're cutting it down this year because with social distancing and stuff, we can't have nearly as many people in the kitchen, which is why my classes have to be shorter and less time. Because we have to be very, very careful about how we approach this with the COVID. Because it's got to be done delicately. So.
Yeah. And thank you so much for mentioning that. I think, adapting is really what you guys have been so great at. And so the pies are no different this year. I for one am very excited to purchase a pie with my virtual Thanksgiving Day registration this year. And to our viewers that are listening, if you would like to support the CAP program and our food services program, you can register for our virtual Thanksgiving Day 5K, and you can add on one of Chef Theresa's pies, Dutch apple or the pumpkin pie.
We're also doing the dog treats too this year too, so don't forget the doggies.
So you will have those as well. I know those are always a favorite with the dogs that come along with the dog bandanas. So we have lots of fun stuff to share with you all this year. For the virtual 5K to help support these critical services that we discussed earlier. So thank you so much, Chef Theresa, for joining us today. I'll let you go because I'm sure you have a very busy day ahead, like you normally do. But thank you for taking the time today.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you.
All right, bye.